Um, I've been wanting to do this for a while. Uh, you carry all this stuff in your head for such a long time. It almost plays like a movie. Like, did you even do it? Was that an experience that you went through? Uh, you know, Therapy's good for a lot of people. I was in therapy from, I don't know, like 9, 10, 15 something years of my life. I don't know, the first bunch. And I'm 38 now, approaching 40. I've got 2 kids, a wife. I got a beautiful life. But this is about what I have done already, like in the past. I just kind of have a story that I think might be a little cool to tell, and so I've been wanting to for some time to tell it, and it might help some people. I don't know. This is just kind of the introduction to it. Um, my parents, they were never married. They tried to make it work. It didn't. I was born in '85. They were on the they were getting ready to split anyway, so they pushed it. They tried to make it work. I spent most of my childhood with my mama, going to see my daddy every other weekend, 2 days out of the week. That ain't a long time. I'm a daddy now. Hell, that ain't a long time. Two custody battles kind of ended up to that point, and sixth grade rolls around, and my mom's dealing with a lot of stuff on her own. I don't really know too much about it, but she was dealing with some stuff. Uh, Basically, I just kind of quit going to sixth grade after the beginning of it. My mom just kind of, I don't know what she was doing, but I was just kind of left alone. And so I missed like 45, 60 something days straight. And then the state kind of was getting involved. And long story short, it was decided that I would go to this is the summer of '98, that I would go to it was like a 2 week long summer camp. I remember my dad dropping me off. I remember my mom. I don't really remember who dropped me off. But I remember my dad came and picked me up after 2 weeks. And I said, "Daddy, we going home?" And he said, "Nah, you're going to go to this place called Brandon Hall Academy. And it's like a boarding school during the summer, so I could try to make up, my work. But it was private, really expensive. I grew up with my mama. We poor. We didn't have a lot of money, so I never really dressed nice. And so at this boarding school, they made me wear a uniform, and I have sensory problems. I can see that a lot more now as I get older. I just get weird about stuff. I might have a little sprinkle of something. But so at this boarding school, I freaked out one day because the uniform was too small and I was uncomfortable, and I ripped it off and I threatened to burn the place down. I ended up getting a fight with a roommate. They basically decided I wasn't going to be able to make it there anymore. I forget how long I was there, a handful of weeks. But I trashed my room, threatened to commit suicide, threatened to burn the place down, tried jumping out the window. I wanted to go home to my mama, where she let me do whatever I wanted. I'm 12. So I got asked to leave there. I don't really know. I just know I went to a place called Charter Peachford for like a psycho evaluation, just to kind of see how my mental state was. I remember my mama coming and dropping me off, and I had a boombox with me. And I still have the same rainbow backpack that she got me at Barefoot Bubba's in Conyers, Georgia. A lot of fond memories. So I got this boombox CD player. Music's always been in my life. It's been, it's just been so much therapy for me that when they told me I couldn't have my boombox, I wigged out. I remember taking my bag and just hitting it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, till I destroyed it. That led to me spending 2 weeks at Charter Peachford. You know, the same place that recovering alcoholics went, place that are people that are addicted to drugs, people with all kinds of mental disorders. I got the dogs, real life, so I got my little beep beep. That was a shock. I mean, they gave me deodorant that was suicide safe and alcohol safe, and I was really scared. I'm not gonna lie. Thinking back on it now, obviously I don't think about this stuff too often. I'd like to put more validity to it, make it more real. That's why I'm doing this. So if I get a little emotional, excuse me. 2 weeks at Charter Peachford. I don't remember anybody there. I just remember walking up and down the hallways and seeing all the 12-step programs, and I remember my mom teaching me the Lord's Prayer, you know, because she went to AA meetings to find out later on, you know, God grant me serenity, accept things that cannot change, courage change things that can, and wisdom no difference. I knew that at 12. From Charter Peachford, I don't remember who picked me up or how it was presented, but I was on my little way to a place called Hidden Lake Academy. You know, you bleep bloop blop that place, and there's a lot of crazy stuff that comes up, right? A lot of stories, a lot of, you know, this, that, and the other. And I even reached out a couple years back, and I joined a Facebook group, you know, that had to do with that. And I don't know how long I was there. You know, I started off pretty quiet, and then I got to where I wanted to go home, man. You know, I want to go home. I tried running away a couple times. Never successfully. I think they had this like little like sports rec building, like right as you come up. It ain't far, maybe like a quarter of a mile from the place. I think I hung out there for a couple hours until they found me. Then you get put like where all the bad kids get. You know, if you don't behave there, you know, it was actually pretty nice from what I remember when I behaved. Like, we had dorm rooms, we had good food, you know, a lot of indoor and outdoor activities, you know, stuff to distract us and stuff to work on ourselves. But after I ran away, now I have patchy memories of this. But after I ran away, I just remember always being outside there. No more indoor activities. I didn't get to go to the field days or whatever that stuff was. They had us with 2 or 3 retired Rangers, Army Rangers. I ain't gonna say no names. I remember one guy. Do I remember him? He told me one time. He said, you know, Deloach, my job is to break you. I'm gonna break you, boy. Like, not even my daddy talked to me that way. You know. Because I was a bad kid, I guess. I didn't follow their orders, I guess. I just remember building like A-frames and outdoor shelters and digging and learning how to be outside and kind of take care of yourself. Counselor that said he was going to break me. I'm 5'2" at this point. 5'1" maybe. I'm 12 years old. I think I actually turned 13 there. So it was around December or something. Yeah, December. I turned 13. I remember being really, really depressed. I'm a teenager now. Whatever that means. It's a number. It's a little chilly outside today, so if I seem like I'm a little shaky. This boy, or this counselor, that was going to break me, I popped off and hit him in the face a couple times. I mean, nothing that did any damage. Again, I might have weighed 95 pounds, 100 pounds. He was a tall, skinny guy. Curly brown hair. His name rhymed with Bentley. That's all I'll say. Well, not rhymed, but... So, I popped off, hit him in the face. I remember the police... Maybe I ran away again? I think I made it to like a Dollar General one time. I don't remember. I don't know the order of events. God, I hadn't thought about this in a long time. And so I just remember this was in Dahlonega, Georgia. Dahlonega Sheriff's Department or police, whoever, cop car comes up, puts me in the back seat. I don't remember if I'm handcuffed or not. But I just remember trying to kick the window out. Because I was going to do that. Right? I don't even think I saw my parents at that point. You know, since I left and saw my mama at Charter Peachford. I wanted to go home, y'all. You know, I didn't like all this. So I was acting out. As one would. So they take me to RYDC. I really don't know how long. In my head, I'm thinking 2 weeks. But, you know, maybe 5 days seems like 2 weeks. I don't know. So here I am in RYDC for assault. First day I was there, a pencil goes missing. And so they line you all up, facing the wall, and, you know, you strip down, and they check for pencils. Thank God they found that pencil before they got to me. I might be a little weird or off, you know what I'm saying? After after RYDC, I go back to Charter Peachford for a week or two. I guess they're figuring out what to do with me, more psycho evaluation. You know, I get all these labels, ADHD. You know, I actually got, let's save that for another topic. Prescription medications given to 8, 9, 10-year-old kids. We'll save that one for maybe the next one. So, Charter Peachford, I get picked up by this big boy. Big old man. Biggest man I think I had ever seen. 6'6" in my head, probably weighed 300 something pounds. Big boy. Takes me to his house. Nothing weird happened. I just remember him being real nice and just saying, I'm going to escort you to your next treatment facility. I was hired by your parents or your daddy to come pick you up and take you because it was deemed that it was best that I didn't have any parental interaction. I don't know where this guy lived. I'd love if somehow he could find me or I could find him. What was little Ryan like? Because I'll get back to this guy. He picks me up. I think he fed me dinner. Go to sleep. Wake up. He says, we're going to the airport. We are headed to Salt Lake City, Utah. I don't think I've been on a plane once when I was like, whatever year Home Alone 2 came out. I begged my grandma and my great aunt to take me to New York City so I could go to the same toy store as Macaulay Culkin. I had one of those little walkie-talkie deals too. So he takes me out to Salt Lake City, Utah, to this place called Second Nature. Outdoor therapy deal. It's about 100 miles south of Salt Lake City, Utah. A bunch of group therapy stuff. You know, this is like the first isolated group where it's like me and maybe 4 or 5 other dudes, all kids about my age. I think I got there and there was another kid named Ryan and he'd been there for like 5 or 6 weeks, and that was like the longest anybody had ever been there, because it was like a 2-week program, right? There was even another kid there that voluntarily signed up because he wanted to lose weight, and he wanted to learn how to be in nature. You know, there's a bunch of rich kids getting sent off to get better. I say rich. My daddy was a dentist, and my great aunt, my Aunt Dorothy, she inherited some money from her husband when her husband passed away. He had a perfume patent or factory or something. So my dad paid for it, but truth be told, my Aunt Dorothy was also helping pay a lot of this. Now, that's my mom's aunt. So I'm at Second Nature. They give you these packs. You know, it's got all the stuff that you need to survive. Tuna, ramen, iodine tablets, metal canisters to heat up and put snow in and heat up and boil your water and heat up and put in your sleeping bags to help you keep warm. I get like World War II feeling wool garm, head to toe. Big old toboggan jacket, big old backpack. And I mean, probably 45, 60, 70 pounds. I don't know how much was in it. Again, I'm 100 and something pounds. I'm 13. I don't remember a lot, but I remember this one point, and my memory might be off. If someone knows better, please tell me. But I just remember one of the things that you had to do was you had to spend some solo time by yourself and figure out yourself. And so they pick a direction. They'd say, count in your head, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. You walk, wherever you stop. You were isolated there by yourself until they come and get you. They taught you how to set up a tent. I had a tarp, some string, you know, nothing I could hurt myself with other than my shoestrings and the string. There's a reason I'm saying that. Tuna, ramen. I don't know. I don't have a lot of memory of it. I just remember being out there, just basic things that you had to do to survive. That's all you focused on. Life becomes very simple when all you have is 5 things to do, and those 5 things keep your ass alive. 13. So I get back, still at Second Nature, and I threaten to run away, so they take my shoestrings. I threatened to run. I think I ran away. They take my shoes. So here I am with just socks. I'm gonna run away again, obviously, because I'm screaming for attention. I am screaming for attention. I run away with my socks on one night, middle of the night. I don't remember. I just remember being dark. A lot of hiking in the desert, snow, staring up at the stars. So I run away, not barefoot, but I didn't have shoes. And of course they find me. They bring me back to their little headquarters because this program's not working for me. I'm there like 6, 7 weeks at this point. It's the New Year's. It's what, 1999. And same big old boy comes to pick me up because Second Nature ain't working for me. I had not had a bath or a shower in over 6 weeks. I remember this man, the first thing he said is, I'm going to get you fed. You're going to have somewhere warm to sleep tonight. We're going to get you cleaned up. You know, now I'm being viewed as a person instead of this thing. That was like the best whatever at many hours I had in a long time. Just to be treated like a person. Hey man, what are you interested in? What kind of music did you used to listen to before you got sent off? Or whatever, you got any favorite movies? Whatever. So he picks me up, we fly back. I still have not seen my parents at this point. And he takes me to a place called Three Springs in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I want to say I was at Hidden Lake for about 6 months. You know, I wish I had I maybe put this down on a timeline. I'd have a better idea of it. But you know how trauma-induced the memories are. You don't like to think about them too much. I'm talking about this because, you know, I still struggle it, not every day, but I have my moments where I have a really hard time. And I look around me and my life's pretty much damn perfect. I could not ask for a better life. Other than my mental days that I have hard days, you know, and I think it's because of this shit that I went through. And so I kind of want to talk about it. So I'm getting to Three Springs. Up in the Blue Ridge Mountains, 1022 Old Fjord Road, or Fjord Road. Because it's the first place that I can actually write to my family, I think. Hidden Lake I might have, I don't know. But I just remember that address. You can still Google Maps it. It went by another name of Prince Mountain Academy. I get there. I've always been called Deloach everywhere I went. Just Deloach. It's a unique last name. I guess a lot of people don't hear it too often. But I get there and they give you what's called your resident number. And that is the sequence of when you came into the program. Like if I was number 238. That's where the number comes from. Taryn 238. I got another making channel. Maker 238. I own that number now. You see what I'm saying? I own it. I see it everywhere. So I'm at Three Springs, and I'll get into Three Springs. Three Springs needs its own video. I have more memories there than I mean, that's where I grew up. I spent 18 and a half months at Three Springs. One of the longest ones there. There was a guy there named Peter, resident number 99. I remember him. Just because he was the oldest one there, you know, and he was still in the double digits. Everybody else was triple digits at that point. I hope I don't offend anybody by saying the names that I remember. Hell, y'all were my buddies for a while. I guess I viewed it that way. You know, we served time together is how I view it. You know, I could spout off a bunch of other guys' names, but I might do that at another point. Three Springs taught me a lot. They taught me what feeling like being restrained felt like. I was restrained there so many times. And restraining is where two counselors, none of these guys and gals there are all certified counselors. They are not. My memory, if it's wrong, they were students using this as credits so that they could graduate. If my memory is correct, I think there was a couple of people there doing that. There was a couple of, another ex-Army Ranger guy. I remember that bow-legged motherfucker. Excuse my language. But I don't know if he got off on restraining me or not, but I remember him restraining me 2 or 3 times. Up until this point, a restraint is where two counselors, one crosses your legs and lays on your legs, and the other one takes your arms behind your back. I wonder why I have shoulder problems. Takes your arms behind your back, pulls your arms, and then lays on your elbows. Again, I don't know how many times I was restrained just from acting out, being violent, threatening, trying to run away, whatever. But one time I got restrained. Again, I'll get into Three Springs a later video. But I was outside the laundry little building there. Y'all Google map it. It's still there. You know, you got the administrative, you got where the counselors and the school is, and then down the hill is the laundry rooms. You zoom out, you'll see the cabins out in the middle of the woods. In the middle of the woods, we had a 12-volt battery as our power that we can only use at night. Wood-burning stove is our heat. No air. No nothing. Crack a window. So prior to me, 2 counselors would restrain you. Well, I figured out I still had something I could move. And so I start banging my head on the gravel, you know, and I still got indentations on the top of my forehead. But 3 counselors from that point on would restrain children. Y'all are welcome. Resident number 238, Deloach. That'd be me. I tried running away there a couple times. Couldn't make it far. You're in the middle of the woods. They made that known. So one of the boys there named Steven, he told me, I want to say he was from California. His daddy was a lawyer, if I remember. He said, as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to run away and live my life on a train, on the railroad. I thought that was pretty badass. Steven, if you're out there, hit me up. I'll sell you some Converse, dude. I still remember. Three Springs, forget where I was going. I never ran away, middle of nowhere, you know. God, I forget where I was going. Anyway, so I spend 18 and a half months there. Oh, Steven, he tells me one day, he said, you know, if you just do what they say, you don't have to mean it, you just got to do it. Like, walk the line. You know, if you just do it, you'll be able to get more privileges. And so that clicked in my head that I could just start fronting, becoming this other person, I guess. So I just clicked, doop, light bulb. And so I started shooting straight as an arrow, man. You know, and I think after that, it wasn't long. You know, you've got different colors on the totem pole that you move up. It's like group member, responsible group member. I don't remember what the first one was. Group member, responsible group member, designated group leader. I don't remember what the other colors and tiers were, but I made it up to RGM, responsible group member, which means I could call meetings, group meetings. The councils would come straight to me, and I would tell these other boys, almost 18-year-old small men, what to do. You know, and I'm 14, telling all these other kids what to do for like 6 months. I was there for a year, probably bullshitting. And then 6 months, it took me to a point where I was progressed enough where they said, I think Ryan's learned everything he could from this place. And I never forget. I don't remember that counselor's name. But he said, Deloach, call the group. Called the group, and they said, Deloach, your daddy's on his way. He's coming to pick you up. I'll get into Three Springs. I had a couple of weekend visits where I went home. No holidays, no nothing. Hell, we did, you know, the year 2000. I remember playing video games there, because what else were we going to do? Three Springs wasn't that bad. It was bad, but it wasn't that bad. If you behaved, they kind of took care of you. You got canteen. Anyway, I'll get into all this stuff later. So my dad comes and picks me up. I said, Daddy, we going home? He said, we are for the weekend. He was living with my grandma at the time. And we went home for the weekend, and I said, what do you mean for the weekend? He said, well, there's this place called Eagle Ranch in Flowery Branch, Georgia. They're still there. That we want you to go to, because it's kind of like an in-between place. It's a halfway house for kids. Trouble kids. Some kids would just go there to start off with. They weren't that bad. You know, but if you went down all those other places, you know, I'm down here. You can't just send me back home. You know, I'm here. And so I had to learn how to... My entire middle school I have missed at this point. Remember, I only went to school in 6th grade for a handful of weeks. I don't ever remember... Packets, maybe? They gave us packets at Prince Mountain Academy. At Second Nature, I think we had some packets filling out some bullshit. But no, I never went to middle school, really. So Eagle Ranch rolls around, and remember, I'm a responsible group member at this point. I want to go home. I have figured out how to work the system. You do what everybody tells you to do, regardless of what your little inside brain thinks. And you walk that line, and that's what I did. And that's what I did for another 9 months at Eagle Ranch until I came home. I busted ass at Eagle Ranch, son. Took 12 months for you to earn Eagle. I got Falcon in 9 and graduated. 1 school year, that's it. Johnson High School, 9th grade. So my counselor, you know, I've had counselors at all these places, but the counselor There was an Eagle Ranch. He sat me down. He said, Ryan, I know you want to graduate. We're going to let you graduate. Or would you want to stay and become an Eagle? I'm like, why? And he's like, because your daddy is not ready yet. Now, let's back up. My dad fell. He was a dentist, but he fell and broke his back. 97? It was the year that him and Diane got married, I want to say. And so he wasn't able to practice this entire time that I was sent away. I don't really know what's happening with that. Hell, I come back and they're not married anymore. My mom lives in Ohio now. All this stuff. My entire life has changed. So my dad, dealing with back surgery to fix his back, you know, they put a rod in there. It's 97, 96, I don't know. You know, and they put a rod and a bunch of screws, and I'm a little kid. I have no idea what's going on. Daddy fell. Are you okay, Daddy? And then he's walking around. I think Daddy's okay. I have no thought. I see him every other weekend, y'all. And so my dad's health has just deteriorated in front of everybody's eyes. He has heart failure. He had open heart surgery. He had problems with his arm, tendons. His feet would swell up. He was just a hot mess. Now, did he take care of himself? Probably not. Me, myself, being an addict, both of my parents, I know being addicts, and me knowing how hard I work at this thing called life, and looking back at them and how they just let me go away, I guarantee you I'm working harder than they are. And if I struggle with it, I know that they did. So I know my dad was struggling. I know my daddy was struggling. At this point, you know, my mom's drinking herself to death up in Ohio. So Michael sits me down. He said, your dad ain't ready. He ain't ready, Ryan. He's not healthy. He doesn't know what it means to be a dad. He's been working on himself, his health, and trying to just be alive the entire time that you were gone. Because they had convinced me that my mom was the problem. Probably. Was my dad the problem too? Probably. You know. But the lesser of two evils, I guess, at that time was to go home with my daddy. And I did. He died 9 months later. When I was 17. And then 2.5 years after that, my mom passed away. So here I am, this little kid. I have been working so hard to come home. Yeah. You know, all that before I graduated high school. I just remember coming back, like when I was in high school, just like this is what the real world's like. I was in awe for 3 years, I guess. Chasing friends, girls, excitement, anything that I was missed out on, I guess. I don't know, man. Ugh. All we can do is grow. You know, saying all these things, I've been talking for the last 34 minutes. I haven't really done this ever. You know, my wife, my best friend, I might as well call her my therapist. She knows these stories. I try not to bore her with them, you know, and but it's nice, I guess, to say it out loud and to know that, you know, I don't know. Just, I'm quite proud of the man I am today. I would not be near the person that I am sitting in front of you, pressing record on this thing here, uploading it to the world. Maybe someone's got some similar stories, maybe a little bit. Maybe you'd be like, well, hell, there's someone else out there like me that went through all that. Yeah, we're out there. You know, I'm kind of curious to see how everybody else is doing in life. But I don't know. So, fast forward. I meet my wife. You know, she teaches me empathy. I have none. I mean, for obvious reasons, I guess. I've always been very selfish with Ryan. I'm the only child. I didn't say that. I never had any brothers or sisters, any step brothers or sisters. It's always been me. A lot of playing alone in my room growing up. You know, comparing my life to others with mom and dads in the same household, or watching TV and looking at what TV and the media wants you to think a house looks like. You know, that's hard. That's hard, especially when, you know, I don't know anybody else that's gone through anything that like I've been through. I'd like to, you know, let's give each other a hug sometime. For real. That would be cool, man. But yeah, I struggle some days. Not a lot, but some days it's really hard for me just to wake up and exist, because I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. Am I doing this correctly? Am I doing it correct? Am I being a good daddy? Am I being a good husband? You know, I'm a horrible friend. I don't call very many people anymore as I get older. You know, I get in my head a lot. I love my job. You know, I work by myself at my job too. You know, today I've been at the house all day by myself. You know, the wife and kids went to work and school. You know, I got today off. Some days are better than others. Sometimes it's hard to fill all the voids of an hour. I say that, but then some days it's so dang easy because I'll get distracted with something or something that I'm excited about, whether that's my ADD, ADHD, you know, and I'll bring this up briefly and then I want to wrap it up because I had it in my head, let's never go over an hour. This is my therapy. This is my therapy. Maybe that's what I should call it. You know, the first title, This is My Therapy. I like that. Remember that, Ryan. That's right. I'll go back real quick. Let's talk about medicine. I said I would talk about it, but y'all need to understand why I was so angry. I was so angry growing up because I didn't have mom and dad in the same household. You know, my grandmother, God rest her soul, was constantly telling me I should be different. Not my mama's mama, but my daddy's mama. And I just, man, that really messed me up a lot. You know, and always didn't like what I was wearing when I would come home from my mom's house. Anyway. I got tested and evaluated in second grade, and they said that I was ADD or ADHD. I forget which one it was, but they gave my little ass Ritalin. You know what Ritalin does to me? It makes me really quiet and really aggressive. I mean aggressive. I just remember blowing up on everything. If the littlest thing didn't go my way, I'd flip my desk over. If the littlest thing didn't go my way, I'd destroy my room. And now I remember, I didn't know then because I was in it, but as an adult, I've tried Adderall a couple years back. I was so aggressive for that 2-3 months that I was trying to figure out why I was weird sometimes. So I tried Adderall, and it made me so aggressive. And then it clicked in my head when my wife told me, she said, "You're aggressive." And I said, "I am. I don't want to get into that. We had a really bad time." But I said, "I think it's the Adderall." And she said, "I think it's right. I think you're right." I was on very low dose. It didn't get me hyped up. It didn't do none of that stuff. It just made me like this. You know what I mean? So I got off the Adderall, and then we're talking one night, her and I, again, she's my therapist. She said, "What if the Ritalin and stuff that you were put on as a kid made you aggressive and made you act out?" Because it started after 2nd grade. Yeah. Holy crap. Not saying that that was the problem, but it sure is sprinkling to something that is already screaming for attention, you know. So, I got off Adderall. You know, I do other things to help medicate myself, but I love caffeine. Caffeine does the opposite for me. You know, I could drink a Red Bull and then go right to sleep. I don't know what I have, but I know I deal with it every day, and I struggle sometimes. I've tried, I'm actually, real secret time, today is day 3 of being off my really low dose SSRI. I don't know what it's called, but it's got 2 hormones in it, serotonin and something else. Because I forget what year it was. When we first moved to Tennessee, I'm all over the place. But when we first moved to Tennessee, I got hit in the face with a sledgehammer, and I got a deviated septum. And I walked around for 5 years with it, like an idiot. This side of my face was so severely inflamed and blocking airflow, it was affecting my happy juice making side of my brain. So I got really depressed, man. I got like really depressed. And so I scheduled the thing to get my nose fixed, and I started taking those SSRIs because I went to the doctor and I'm like, "I'm so sad all the time. I don't know why I'm so sad." And so she gives me the SSRIs, you know, and it has helped until it started didn't. And still I started noticing that I just couldn't. I'm manic depressive. My mama was. That's what I was getting at. We're back around. So I enjoy having things that distract me, that I get excited about. You know, maybe I have a sprinkle or whatever you want to call it, but I get hyper focused on projects. I'm a maker. You know, if you want to check out my other YouTube channel, I make all kinds of stuff. I'm very good with my hands. Very, very good with my hands. And so when I caught myself not being as creative and productive in the shop. And, you know, I'm like, well, I don't like this. You know, I miss that manic a little bit, I think. Sometimes the manic's hard to deal with, but you have to grow to get to a certain point where I feel like I'm mature enough and I've learned enough over the last course, however many 20, 30 years that I've been dealing with Ryan, to just tell myself that I'm okay. Like right before this, I was in a little depressed mood or whatever because the first phone that I went to go shoot on didn't have any. I locked myself out of it because I've been thinking about making this video for months. Maybe that's why I've been funky the last few days. I need to get this out. I need to get it out. Like I'll look at pictures, you know, like I was the day before last with my daughter, and I was showing her pictures of me when I was at Three Springs. You know, the kids know I was sent off. They don't know all about it, and I'll tell them when they get older. But my daughter right now is 13. The exact same age I was when I got sent off. I know I'm a better parent and a better person than my mother and my father. So they did their jobs, because a parent's job is to make a better version of yourself. I mean, I ain't ever going to send my babies away. Ever. Couldn't imagine doing that. Couldn't imagine. But, you know, you got to wake up, be thankful that you woke up. That's really it. You know, thank y'all for listening. You know, I want to do it and put it out there because I makes me feel better because I'm talking about it. I'm putting it to something and I'm making it real, and it's not just a movie that I watched. You know, and we'll go into some other stuff. I don't want to put too much into one. But, yeah, man. No, I look at my babies, and I think back at, you know, me at my parents' age, and I'm like, if I could just focus on that, on those times that I'm down, that's the medicine right there, you know? You know, and of course my wife encourages me, and I'm always honest with her when I'm down or I'm funky, and it freaks her out sometimes because, you know, everybody deals with stuff. And the last thing you want to hear on a vacation is, I'm doing good, right? I'm doing good. And she's like, what? And I'm like, that's because that's me. I'm constantly psychoanalyzing myself all the time. I can't help it. You know, but I want to do this because I know there are other people out there that went through treatment facilities and that didn't have your, in quotation, perfect cookie cutter upbringing. But by golly, if we don't remember that, if we don't remind ourselves that we are survivors, that we survived that, and look at the beauty on where you are right now versus then. You know, I watched this thing, I don't know if it was on Oprah or what, but there was this lady, this psychologist, and she was on there and she said, I want y'all to do this experiment with me. And y'all do it too. I'm going to do it right now with myself. Imagine yourself walking up to your younger self, standing there exactly where you thought you needed the most. And you hold your younger, I'm not doing it justice, but you hold your younger self's hand and you just look into him and you let him know everything's going to be all right. If you only knew where we're going to be in 20 years, you know, because this is my 20th high school anniversary this year, you know, right before my mom passed away. But if I could hold little Ryan's hand and be like, hey, buddy, dude, can I tell you something really cool? Like, yes, Mr. Hairy version of myself. Do all those tattoos hurt? And I'll be like, dude, if you only knew where we're going to be. I'd just pick little me up and I would just give him the biggest hug. I just tell him it's going to be all right. We all need to do that more. Hell, it's the first time I've cried like this in a long time. You know, I don't cry as much. You know, I'm very selfish with my feelings. You know, empathy, you know, it has been a very, very hard thing for me to learn. But yeah, like I said, I was doing bad before I even pressed record, and I feel a hell of a lot better. I do. You know, Joe Walsh, life's been good to me. Now. I'm gonna listen to that when I get off of this. Appreciate y'all. Resident number 238, Ryan Deloach. I appreciate you. Hello. Thank y'all for listening. If you know anybody that's got similar experiences, please let them know. They're not the only one.